Welcome to Public Forum, a community outreach program produced at North Idaho College on the shores of Lake Coeur d'Alene. Featuring guests from around the globe addressing a wide variety of subjects, Public Forum serves to educate and enlighten. Please join host and moderator, political scientist Tony Stewart, in welcoming today's guest.
Today's topic is a discussion of Lewis Clark State College, which is in Lewiston, Idaho, a fine institution of higher learning in our state, and we're very fortunate to have on our program the president of that fine institution, Dr. Dean Thomas. Our guest holds a baccalaureate degree in literature with a secondary education endorsement in English from Southwest State University of Minnesota. She earned her PhD from the University of Minnesota in the field of English. Dr. Thomas worked for 17 years at the University of Idaho, where she started out as a professor of English, later became director of writing and an associate dean, and then served as vice provost for academic affairs at the University of Idaho. She became the first woman president at Lewis Clark State College and the 14th president of that institution in July 2001. She recently was appointed by Governor Dirk Kempthorne to serve on the statewide Workforce Development Council. Dr. Thomas, we're way overdue to have you on the program. We're so pleased to have you here, and congratulations with your position at Lewis Clark State College.
Thank you, Tony. That was a wonderful introduction.
Well, so earned. Those that gave me this information even told me the name of your dog and cat, but I left that out. It sounds like you're a lover of animals also.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sophie and Dweezil, there, I got them in.
Oh, great. Thank you. And we're so pleased to have panelists today, Judy Meyer, who serves on the Board of Trustees at North Idaho College. She's just, for years, been a great contributor in the state of Idaho. She served on the State Board of Education and even had a term as chair of the State Board of Education. And Judy, welcome to the program. We'll start the question with you today.
Thank you, Tony. And welcome. I say Dean Thomas, but I need to clarify. Your first name is Dean Thomas, President Thomas. In this group, you'll probably be Dean Thomas. But before we even begin to talk about Lewis Clark College, and we'll want you to orient us to where it is and more about it, how about if we come back to the introduction and talk a little bit about you and how you became president, and also your educational background, because it was not in the traditional academic track, as I recall.
It was not. Thank you for that, giving me a chance, Judy, to talk about the fact that I was a non-traditional student.
You're still a non-traditional president, but go ahead.
I've been non-traditional in everything I've ever done.
Right.
I started college at age 30 as a single parent with 3 children in tow. And
the real world.
It was definitely the real world. And that was back in the flatlands of Minnesota. And then coming out to Idaho has made me appreciate the struggles that the students at Lewis Clark State College have. We have a great number of non-traditional students, and very often they have not much money, and they're trying at times for a second career. Although we're getting more and more 18-year-old freshmen direct from high school, so our blend is changing. But I've enjoyed Lewis Clark State College because of the fact that I can identify and sympathize with the non-traditional students.
Did you ever expect to be president of a college when you started your educational career?
No, I didn't. I expected to be a high school English teacher. And then my advisors at Southwest State encouraged me to go on to graduate school. And I decided I would try it. It seemed like a great risk, but I did. And in graduate school, I met my husband, Gordon, and when he joined the family of me and my 3 girls, he said he thought he had joined a sorority.
Beautiful story.
But he also didn't think I'd be able to make it because graduate school was so hard. And I had 3 children, so he was very concerned about me. But I did make it, and I love what I do because I believe in it. I believe that education changes people's lives, and that commitment is what I have, and it's what I see in my wonderful faculty and staff at Lewis Clark.
A lot of our viewers are outside of Idaho and Canada and other states, and we want to talk a little about the geography. It's not Lewis and Clark in Oregon, but in Lewiston.
It's not.
Give us a little bit about the location.
Lewis Clark State College is in Lewiston, Idaho, which is at the confluence of the Snake and Clearwater rivers in what is termed north central Idaho.
Often known as the banana belt in the wintertime.
It is a seaport, and we're often many degrees warmer than we are right up the hill, about 6 miles when you get on to the Palouse.
And a little bit about the history of the college. It started out being the same type of institution it is today.
The history of the college, again, is a good fit for me because it's very practical. It was a normal school, and normal schools were started to educate the masses and to bring education to everyone, and that's what we're still trying to do. So 1893 gives us a 110-year history, and we're not normal anymore, some people will say. But we still have that commitment to the basic value of the importance of teaching. And we are a teaching institution, and we're proud of it.
Thank you. Judy Meyer.
As I think about your location and description of what you do, it's a 4-year school, but also have a community college mission and professional technical. At least here within Idaho, in the geography of Idaho, there's also the University of Idaho, not far up the hill where it's colder temperatures. And when I was on the State Board of Ed, one of the ponderings was, amongst the state folk, how can we afford such a small school so near a large school? Talk to us about the differences in the schools and essentially those differences and why it's worth having Lewis Clark, 30 minutes?
30 miles.
30 miles?
South of Moscow.
Not 30 minutes then, all righty. But I know that and I learned there are lots of differences, but I'd like you to help our viewers understand what all Lewis Clark does.
I would be happy to do that. The normal school roots start with that explanation, but we go from there. There is less overlap than you might think because Lewis Clark State College has professional technical education, 1-year certificates and 2-year associate's degrees, and those don't exist at the University of Idaho. We also have a social work bachelor's degree that the University of Idaho does not have. We have a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. We have radiographic technology. We have licensed practical nursing, none of which are up the hill, so to speak, in Moscow. And by the same token, we do not have many of the professional degrees, law, engineering, agriculture, that the University of Idaho does. So there is less overlap than people realize. We also are not all that large, but we're very efficient and economical. Our cost per student is about half of what the University of Idaho's is, partly because they're a research institution. It doesn't say that we're economical and they're not, but we are a good value and we're cost effective.
And about what is your tuition?
We're $3,126 for the academic year that we're currently in per year.
Semester system for.
Yes, so that is per year. We are the most affordable 4-year institution in the state of Idaho.
And I understand you've had some national recognition of your programs.
We have indeed. U.S. News and World Report ranks us highly as the one of the top 4-year public comprehensive colleges in the West. Lumina has ranked us as the most affordable 4-year institution in Idaho, and we're very proud of that.
Good for you.
That is all is most informative, and I really appreciate Judy's question because it's not a matter of duplication, and you've already dealt some with the role and mission of the institution, but maybe we can expand on that just a little bit more. You certainly identified the programs and how you reach out to all the citizenry, and there's a real close relationship with some of the things you do, and put you in harmony with North Idaho College, like in your associate degrees in the professional technical and all of that. But just give us a little more elaboration. And I guess I'll just tie all this together with another question is, your role in Coeur d'Alene. You have a great partnership with North Idaho College and University of Idaho here. So I'll just give you that very broad question and let you run with it.
I'll be happy to take that. For starters, we have 6 primary emphasis areas, and they are business, criminal justice, nursing, professional technical, social work, and teacher education. We have basic strengths in the liberal arts and sciences for a general education core. of all those programs, we have here in Coeur d'Alene bachelor's completion programs in 6 areas: the business, criminal justice, nursing, social work, communications, and an interdisciplinary degree.
So a student could take 2 years at North Idaho College and take the 3rd and 4th year with you and never leave Coeur d'Alene and get their baccalaureate degree.
Absolutely. And not only can they do it that way, but we work closely with NIC to make sure that it is seamless. Our advisors and NIC advisors work together. We have NICH up here, North Idaho Center for Higher Education, which helps students find the school with the appropriate program to match their interests.
Let's identify for our viewers what all colleges are involved in NICH.
NICH is, I think, centrally, first and foremost, NIC, because that is the home school here. And they do the first 2 years for everyone. Then we have, for bachelor's completion programs, Lewis Clark State College and the University of Idaho. And then graduate programs are the University of Idaho and Idaho State University. So that's quite a consortium, really.
Yes. I just want to add a footnote to say that people like you as president and other presidents work so great together, but I'm not going to resist the temptation to tell our viewers that Judy Meyer, sitting over here as a member of the State Board of Education at the time, was very instrumental in bringing together this collaboration and also seamless education. And one of our representatives, Representative Meyer, dealing with dual enrollment, which is high school students coming in. And so I just need to say thanks to Judy, because this has really not only made it more efficient and financially doable, but it also is really serving the students much better.
I have to add to that my thanks to Judy. She didn't know I was going to say this, she received the Lewis Clark State College President's Medallion a year and a half ago at our commencement, because we know how valuable she's been to higher education in the state of Idaho as a state board member, and to all of the collaborative efforts that have been taking place here in Coeur d'Alene. We value her very highly.
We could add a lot of things.
Let's go on to collaboration.
Let me go back to Judy now.
Because I think what Dean Thomas is describing in collaboration is in fact something we all care about. Thank you for the honor, but many folks, you all make it happen, Dean Thomas, now. And that's what's important. Our goal is to serve the students. How do we help them cost effectively move through a system, step out of it on occasion because they couldn't afford to continue, or they completed the 2 years at NIC, but they've taken the classes they need so that when they can afford either the time or money or logistics, they can re-enter and then join LCSC in your programs. It seems to me that's the whole goal of what we're doing with collaboration. And now I want to have you continue to explain some of the programs you were, and distinguish again, as we did before, between the University of Idaho. The University of Idaho is up here also, but they're providing different kinds of programs than you are. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. If we look at those bachelor completion programs, we have agreed that the University of Idaho does the teacher education. Lewis Clark State College does the business, nursing, social work, communication, interdisciplinary, and we also have a chemical dependency counseling minor that goes well with the social work. So we actually have more programs and more four-year bachelor completion students than the University of Idaho. But of course the University of Idaho then has its extensive graduate offerings as well. But we don't overlap. We don't duplicate. We are very careful. We cooperate, we communicate, we actually talk to each other. And we enjoy doing it. And we agree, if we're looking at an addition, we talk to the other school and see if they think it's a good idea for us to do it before we even move forward.
How do you establish, if you're going to start a new program, or somebody's going to, how do you all establish what that program should be? You're limited. I know we've had budget cuts. It's a hard time to be expanding programs. How do you get a sense of what's needed out there?
The students tell us. They come and they start asking what we have. They start describing their needs. The chemical dependency counseling minor is a good example of that. there wasn't one up here. The state of Idaho needed one, and so we do needs assessment. But often the spark for that assessment comes from students coming to us and telling us what they want, and then we check to see if those who are speaking to us, if there are enough students to proceed. And in some of the higher cost areas, such as nursing, it involves cooperation with health facilities. And we have a good relationship with the hospitals in Lewiston and Clarkston and here in Coeur d'Alene because we need clinical sites.
Sure. Thank you.
One of our dreams, Judy and I would be on this bandwagon along with, there's a great editorial in the Spokesman Review that was just outstanding, and Mayor Bloom and Sandy Bloom in the city of Coeur d'Alene and Lewis Clark and State College and University of Idaho and North Idaho College and the governor's office and others are working on something called an education corridor. And for our viewers in Canada, the places it's we're on the bank of a beautiful lake and river, Lake Coeur d'Alene and Spokane River, and you're located right on that now with the University of Idaho. And just to very briefly say that there's a very important part of our business or our economy is a sawmill that needs to be relocated and all those jobs preserved, and then a railroad track and all, but there's a beautiful V that comes from North Idaho College down the river that will create the education corridor. So that's just a little background. Tell us your opinion about that, and from a visionary viewpoint, what does that mean to the future of all these institutions, and maybe even others that I haven't mentioned that are that will become part of that in some way in the future?
I think this is a very exciting vision, and again, it's a shared vision. The University of Idaho has it, NIC has it, we have it, the city of Coeur d'Alene has it, ISU. We're all joining in this vision of the education corridor. If you can visualize what we have right now with NIC being on the water, so to speak, then we have Harbor Center, which is also on the water, and the three institutions in Harbor Center, NIC, some short distance away with the mill in between. If we can sort of close that gap and make it a true corridor instead of two spots as we have right now, we really have a center, and we can accommodate the growing needs for higher education in Coeur d'Alene and North Idaho, because we can do it much more economically than if we were to start a brand new four-year college, which would take a tremendous amount of capital investment. And this builds on the strengths that the state already has and provides a wonderful service to Coeur d'Alene, the region, and the state of Idaho.
It's unlimited what that can do on economic impact, serving the entire population in different types of degrees in education. It reminds me of in North Carolina where they have a educational triangle and they have a number of schools involved, and it just did incredible things for the economy of the entire state of North Carolina.
Is that still a little North Carolinian accent hiding back there?
I don't think I've ever said on the show where I'm from, but I am. I'm a Tar Heel from North Carolina.
Now I've gone and done it. I've turned it
that's
around,
fine.
haven't I?
I'm very proud of it. So it hadn't come up before, but it is. It was a great move, and Governor Terry Sanford and others were involved in that back in the '60s. So I see that as another lab example here, and has great potential in that way. And I'll go back to Judy Meyer.
As we talk about facilities and the reality of your primary location in the Lewiston, Idaho area, next door to Clarkston, Washington, I expect there's some sharing back and forth there as well. And then our education corridor here in northern Idaho, and specifically the Coeur d'Alene area. Part of our goal as educators has been to provide outreach to folks that are not necessarily to reach these physical facilities. And I know you've, at Lewis Clark, done a great deal of work with outreach to the Native Americans in your neighborhood, folks who, as we've said, not only four-year programs, but two-year programs, professional, technical. And then some of those classes may be also available via technology and long-distance learning. Tell us what you're doing with that in various parts of the state.
I'd be happy to. That's a very broad-reaching question. I'm going to segment it. We're very proud of our relationship with the Nez Perce tribe. They are, of course, in Lapwai, just 12 miles away primarily, and then other areas of north central Idaho. We are the only institution in the world to teach the Nez Perce language. And in all of the budget cuts that we've sustained in the last 2.5 years, we've maintained the Nez Perce language because this is of a cultural and ethnic priority for us. We actually offer Nez Perce to students at the University of Idaho and at WSU through distance learning, and we're very proud of that. We have increased our Native American student population substantially in the last few years. We have an Indian education grant for teachers, and that relationship is a strong one and a very important one. We have outreach centers throughout north central Idaho: Grangeville, Kamiah, Kuski, Lapwai, Orofino. I'm going to leave one out and then I will feel bad. And all of those bring education to people who are place-bound and who can do e-learning, electronic learning, whether it's a straight. Some of the courses are online totally, some are hybrid. We actually have over 100 online courses. So we're proud of that. We were very early into electronic learning, and we have a special arrangement with WebCT, which is support for electronic courses, and we've worked with them for a number of years. So we really value our role in bringing education to centers other than just Lewiston. Let's see, was there another part to
There were
this?
so many
There
segments
you
to it,
had
sure.
a number of segments.
Yeah.
But a lot of what we're able to do in Coeur d'Alene and at the outreach centers is because of technology, so that we can offer either a course that is totally online or even a hybrid course where students, and by hybrid I mean we have the technology, we have the web, we have email, we have even telephone, compressed video.
Sometimes come to the campus for a weekend to wrap up a class. You only have to show up once or twice, for instance, and the rest of the time you can do it from home or wherever else you might be.
And there was your succinct definition of hybrid.
Okay,
That is it, yes. And we also have the Accelerated Teacher Education program called PACE, which is relatively new. This is just the second year of it. Teachers come to campus in the summer. Often these are classroom aides who want to go on and become a teacher, and they take e-learning electronic courses during the school year and then come on campus in the summer.
I would like to interject that North Idaho College, Lewis Clark State College, University of Idaho, in a collaborative way again and with some great technology, we're able to have a lot of distance learning through condensed video. I had the pleasure of teaching a course on state and local North Idaho College and Lewis Clark State College together, and then I do sites all over North Idaho, and others do too. But what is so beautiful about that is that such a rural state as we are, we're bringing I love the term you used on a minute ago about people who are not able to come to the main campus, and they can stay in Bonners Ferry wherever and pursue their education. Our goal at North Idaho College is to have students in places like Bonners Ferry to get their associate degree and never have to come here, although there's a lot of merit to being on campus. Anyway, I just wanted to add that footnote because it's an exciting part. My question.
And then we can work with you
Of
to add the third and fourth years to that.
You certainly, and it's just a wonderful process that really serves the public. But my next question, you might be surprised about. Every governor is often remembered for some particular program or project. One governor of North Carolina, he was the road governor. Presidents of colleges, and we've had, since I've been here all this long time, each president's been remembered for some particular contribution to the institution. When your tenure is over at Lewis Clark State College, what would you like to be the one thing that is you'll be best known for and remembered for your contribution to that institution?
I would hope that my contribution to Lewis Clark State College would be one of the vision the focus, that we understand what our mission is, that we have grown into the programs we have, that we are financially healthy, that we are responsive to the area we serve and to the needs of that area, and that we've become a school of 4,000 to 5,000, so that we've grown into all the programs comfortably, and we're serving the region and the state of Idaho successfully.
I would have to say, from what we've had on the program today, that you're well on your way to being remembered for such a wonderful vision. Judy Meyer.
Goodness, that inspires me, and I think that's why we're all in education, because we care so much. And thank you for your vision and energy that it takes to be a president. We've really talked mostly about academic programs, and I think it's important we identify that you serve the community college role, which is similar to ours, but we've distinguished it as not duplicate, but in the Lewiston area, then folks who want the community college programs can visit you to do that and enroll there. And then professional technical, which is another aspect of training. Tell us about what you do there, and also can that be done via technology, distance learning?
It can in pieces, more the hybrid than the on. It's a little hard to teach auto mechanics totally online, and in fact, we're not going to try to do that. But our professional technical programs are in fact unduplicated in Region 2. NIC does those in Region 1. The University of Idaho does not have a professional technical role. Nor do they have a community college function. And our community college function involves adult basic education. We have people come in adults who can barely read or have trouble with math. We have the GED. But adult basic education, an adult can come in and improve reading or math skills without wanting or having to try for a GED. The GED, the general education degree, we have between 400 and 500 students
on that
a
note,
year.
I have to bring the program to conclusion. The clock wins every time for
gosh.
32 years on this program.
Okay.
It's been just a pleasure to have you on the program, and what a great spokesperson you are for your fine institution, and we thank you so much. We thank Judy Meyer for being with us and the great questions that she asked. We hope you'll come back, and we just got started, and we'll do other programs in the future about what you're doing and how we're all working together.
Thank you.
We just thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest has been Dr. Dean Thomas, who is the president of Lewis Clark State College in Lewiston, Idaho, speaking of all the different roles and functions that institution provides for many, many people throughout our region. I hope you'll be with us again next week at this same time when we will discuss yet another issue. Until then, please have a good week. I am Tony Stewart.
Recorded on the campus of North Idaho College, Public Forum is the longest-running in-house college production on PBS. Each episode is pre-recorded live and is an educational outreach from North Idaho College. Please join us at this same time next week for another edition of Public Forum on this public television station.